Welcome to this episode of Mainline Connect. My name is Jennifer Lynn Robinson, and my guest today is Budo Bunul, who's the CEO and founder of Pantry Boy. Welcome, Budo.
Thank you. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me, Jennifer.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, sure, my pleasure.
So, we like to start off the show talking a little bit about networking. And one of the
hmm
things that struck me since I've met you, I guess it's going on almost 5 years
Oh
now.
my goodness, yes.
I know it's been a long time. Is how involved with the local community you are through the different ventures that you've had,
hmm
hosting people, including a group that I was
hmm
doing for a while, and
Loved it.
hosting different events at your
hmm
facilities, really getting involved with community causes. Tell me why that's important to you and how that has helped you grow your businesses.
Well, I mean, it just first of all, it just came to be very natural for
Yeah.
me. Like more than a product, more than a business, I wanted to develop those relationships with the community, especially if it's a community that I was going to settle and live with it and stuff and all that. And it was really critical for me to build a relationship with everyone who I get to come across. To have that relationship, it was really important to me. And it's so funny, like I mean, and then I realized that how uniquely it also works with the your business.
Yes.
Like it was much more effective way of developing, building customer base, for instance. Like I mean, you build really amazing loyal relationships and stuff. Like yes, definitely. Like I mean, there are a lot of people, lots of young entrepreneurs are out there. They have hard time to find environments to kind of get their voice out there with their business, with their ideas. Uh, uh, yes, there are like I mean amazingly done networking groups, and you just become part of it. You attend to it. You meet a couple of people. You hand out a couple of business cards and stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, that is really great. But and I think it needs to be done a little bit beyond that, like daily basis. Like I mean, it could be everywhere. So if you're in a storefront over the counter, or if you're doing your grocery in the grocery store, if you're at the library, if you're everywhere,
No,
and
I agree with you. I think people don't think about all the places they can network that aren't traditional networking events. Like you
right.
said, the grocery store,
hmm
anywhere. And I think
hmm
because you've had a few storefront
hmm
businesses as well, you really make a point of getting to know everybody who comes in.
Oh, absolutely.
And, when you host groups there, you get to know
hmm
everybody in the
hmm
groups. And, that's invaluable for building relationships and for building your business.
Oh, absolutely. And plus, like I mean, it's just so it's but people. I think a lot of people that they have hard time of defining their product, or they really undervalue is themselves. Actually, they're the brand,
Right.
the individuals. Like I mean, who are founders, who are more like the people who are um, entrepreneurs. They're the brand themselves. Like I mean, yes, you could have a really unique product or a service, but you're the brand, you're the face of it. And it's really important that you build those relationships, not necessarily, hey, I'm selling this like 10% off, or can you get this, or do you want to buy this, do you need this? It's not necessarily you should be selling things.
Right.
You should build those like really amazing relationships with individuals, that because you're the brand itself. So it's like you build that relationship with you. It should be like basically talking about your personal things, maybe
Sure.
just sharing your pets information, or your kids, or your daily activities, or other things, or or other things that happen in your community. Like sharing this with your customers, with your potential target market, it's much more effective to kind of build that brand that you want to, and to build that customer base much more effective
I
to
think
kind
that's
of do
one of the
that.
reasons you've been able to be so successful. I mean, I think a lot of
hmm
people forget that. Like you said, it's all about, here's my promotion, here's my pitch. Why don't
No,
you want
that
to buy
doesn't
from
work.
me? And
Yeah.
I know you're not like that, but
hmm
I think a lot of people have that. Maybe it's pressure, to sell, and
Right.
that's at the forefront, and they forget that it's just first being a human being, first getting
Exactly.
to know
Yes.
people, and like you said about the kids in the community and
hmm
things that are personal and important to people.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Like I mean, it's just uh, it's so amazing. Like one of those days when I had my operation, one day I was behind the counter with the staff. I have this regular customer who comes in all the time. Like I mean, dining, takeouts, deliveries, catering, and he was just kind of walking around, and he felt that he had to express himself to me. Like, do you know why I come here very often? Like, I mean, it's I'm kind of obligated. I was like, no, you're not obligated. Why? And then he's like, well, this is the fifth time you've been contributing to my kids' school's fundraising. Although I don't have a children at that school and stuff.
Okay.
Like, I mean, being part of a community and a way
Sure.
more effective. Like, it's just so amazing how that creates an impact in your customer base. Like, I mean, seeing you. And of course, like, I mean, people most of the times, like, I mean, maybe 99 out of 100, they don't see that, they don't understand that, like, oh, this guy is really important in our community, does really positive things and stuff.
I think a lot of people see that about you.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, you see, like, I mean, it's not that, like, I mean, you're doing to be seen, but it's just the fact that because we are all individuals, we are extremely busy, we don't see really, or just we don't take a minute or two to think about every single that we come across. We just process and we just keep going, But seeing that, like, I mean, it's just a really great that people could see, like, that's why I'm saying, like, and I think an individual, him or herself, is the brand. So it's like anything that a person can do personally, it will kind of create that product that they want to, service that they want to create.
Yeah, it's great advice.
Oh, absolutely. Like, and that's the way you become the culture, and I think definitely whatever you're doing, if it's a service, if it's a product, it shouldn't be a service product, and you should treat that service and product more like a person type thing, like make it personalized.
Yeah, make it personalized. So tell us about your start. How long have you been in the food industry and restaurant business? How did you get started? Is this something you always wanted to do from the time you were a kid?
Since I was growing up a little kid. Like, I mean, especially I come from Turkey. Like, I mean, the culture is a little bit different. Our moms are really, really passionate about their kitchens. Like, I mean, especially, like, I mean, they keep it clean, organized, and stuff and all that. They don't want to be messy, dirty by others. They're very protective for their kitchen. Every time I got an opportunity, I would go in the kitchen, and then I would be chased out if I got caught.
So you would try to make things on your own.
Oh, absolutely.
And then your mother would say, "Get out."
Oh, absolutely. Like, I mean, it just so. Of course, she's like now seeing that. Like, I mean, I built a career in that, and building a success out of it, and she's really. Oh, okay. So she's really proud of me right now to see that.
Sure.
Like, I mean, it's happening. Oh, definitely. Like, I mean, it's been always my passion. Like, and I think it just it kind of it kind of matches my personality to being in the food and the hospitality business.
I agree. Yeah.
So it was really great. Like, I mean, I have done my education in the food sector, hotel and hospitality management. I started up my career with one of the largest hotel chain, Starwood Hotels.
How long were you there for?
Over 9 years.
Oh, wow.
I lived and worked at the Western brand, in Boston, Massachusetts, for about 9 years.
Okay.
And then moved to San Francisco for a couple of years. Again, did work at a really unique historic hotel, St. Francis Weston Hotel in Union Square for a couple of years.
What brought you to Philadelphia?
It was my wife, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at the time she was doing her graduate work at the St. Joseph University.
Okay.
And we met, and she really dragged me over here. Well, it wasn't a drag, but we were also ready to kind of starting up a family, settle and stuff and all that. And I think being in Philadelphia, Greater Philadelphia area, it was inevitable to start up a family and grow a family, because the living costs are much more reasonable, and it's more
Schools
family. School districts are really good and stuff and all that. And that was really important with the decision making. And I was fortunate that I did work at the Rittenhouse Hotel. It's a really nice boutique hotel.
Beautiful.
I love it. Had great experience with lots of great people who works there. And I did some of the management there for about 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, I have to think that's amazing training ground, because the level of service there is just impeccable.
Oh, absolutely.
So I mean, everything you would learn there that you can then implement in your own business would be really worthwhile.
Like, I mean, it's just so amazing. Like, when I first opened up my storefront, it was really critical. Like, I mean, you have so much experience. You've been all over the country, career build up in the sector, but you are also able to scale back yourself down, how to train your staff members in a really, behind the scenes. Like, I mean, how do you maintain your property nice and clean, for instance? Like, you have to train your employees, coworkers and stuff. How do you, get preps done, or certain things that, like, I mean, you would think, like, I mean, they're not as important, but it was great that I had that experience to kind of apply that right off the bat.
Right.
I mean, a lot of time. Like, I mean, of course, we all learn during our process of starting up something, but it's really helpful to have some knowledge and information regarding something that you can apply right off the bat. You know, like it's really critical. Like, for instance, like, I mean, you know, it could sometimes take an individual a year or years to realize that that level of quality of a sauce is not really, you know, fresh. It's not really
Right.
good. Like, but me knowing it right off the bat, it was really critical. So it made really good impact. I mean, of course, like, you're building up this really nice, amazing relationship with people, but it's also really critical that you really develop a good product.
So talking about the product, now you moved out here to the Philadelphia area, specifically around the main line, and
Hmm.
you make dishes with a Turkish and Mediterranean influence. How did you know that this area would be so receptive to that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just but you see, like, when I come to States in '96, McDonald's was just brand new, adopting different things other than French fries and burgers.
Okay.
Like, they started having chicken at the time, like, and then later salads, more other fish options, more healthier salads, wraps, and stuff and all that. Like, because their culture developed too, and this is a type of cuisine that it really designed it really right at the right timing, where consumers are demanding different things because their tastes change, because people are much more educated when it comes to their
And
health
health
conscious and
conscious,
stuff and all
right.
that whatsoever. Like, it was a well, like in 2011, when we opened up our first doors, first time, um, we didn't have a fryer in our kitchen.
Okay.
Like, and I was really nervous about it. Like, I mean, because if you're talking about commercial kitchens for the restaurants, like, I mean, you have to have a griddle, fryer, and stuff and all that whatsoever to make things, you know. And I was really nervous about it. And until this date, we don't need it. And it's just so amazing that, like, I mean, you know, just bring in fresh ingredients, just create fresh,
Yeah,
delicious
fresh, healthy
recipes. Like, I
food.
mean, and people really didn't even bother.
That's great.
You know, I mean, customers could ask, like, I mean, do you guys have fries? Or kids would ask, like, no, we don't do fried food. And they would say, oh, good for you.
Yeah,
Amazing. You know, like, I mean, yeah, sure, why not? You
that's great.
know, yeah.
So your latest venture is called Pantry Boy. Tell
Yes.
us about what that is.
Well, Pantry Boy idea has been in my mind for longest. Being in the food sector for all these years, and it's just it's a big sector, and I also feel that the sector itself is so inefficient, the way that it's structured. The whole idea of Pantry Boy, how can we make food much more accessible,
Okay.
make it convenient and cost efficient, and make it much planet maybe better.
So it's a membership service?
It is more like it, yeah.
Okay.
So it's you don't have it's not like an agreement type of thing. You have to be enrolled and stuff and all
Right.
that. Like, I mean, you can try it, you don't like it, or it doesn't work for your schedule and stuff. Like, I mean, that's or your taste. Like, you could definitely certainly change that. Like, I mean, you don't have to. But the idea was to kind of, like, I mean, it appeals to busy individuals and families
Hmm.
really well. Like, that is because our lifestyles has changed tremendously. Like, every day we become much busier in our lives. Like, we do try to make much more time for other things as well. Like, I mean, we want to work out, we want to
Right.
walk our pets. Like, I mean, we want to be part of our kids' activities and stuff after schools.
There's just no time left
Oh,
after
there's no
that.
time.
Right.
Absolutely, there's always biggest question, like, what's for dinner, and
Sure.
when that happens, like, I mean, you know, oh, and then we just struggle a little bit, and then we end up eating the same things. Whether it's a takeout or we just a chicken pasta type of thing, like, and then we are
Or
very limited.
leftovers, yeah.
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 So the idea was to at Pantry Boy to create like, we come up with the real nice, delicious recipes every week. They're unique, different,
Okay.
and they're proportioned, and it comes with the recipe card. And you take about 20-30 minutes to assemble it, and you make a really nice gourmet dish for yourself. And on top of it, like, I mean, for instance, since it's really cost efficient, it because everything is packaged, it comes to your door. The natural consumer sense is that, oh, this is expensive. It is not actually. So if you're a family of two,
Right.
like, and then you have a box coming to your house, it's $50, $60, and that's each night is around $20 or below. So that's not a lot of money. If
That
you
is not
wanted
a lot
to,
of money.
yeah, absolutely.
Because if you get takeout, it's going to be more than that,
oh,
and
definitely.
it's not going to be health, fresh, healthy food. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, and so it is not a lot of money, and because the way that we make it cost efficient, you wanted to develop this gourmet dish, you didn't have to pay soy sauce $7, and you end up using only half an ounce.
Right.
And then what do you do with the rest? It's a waste.
Or as we were talking about before, hard to find spices that you might buy for one recipe and then they sit on your shelf for a year and then you wonder why you bought them in the first place.
Right.
So you don't have to worry about that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what we do is we design recipes for 2 or 4, and then we proportion all the ingredients, and we also not only proportioning things, we also want to make sure that they have nutritional value. We also want to make sure that they're in the right calorie rounds and stuff like that. We also, want to make sure that you have different experiences. You have access to different tastes and techniques and flavors all over the place. So that is what makes it really unique. Like, because saving time and money is at the core of our business. And also there's a product we do it uniquely than most of the competition. It's like we do slow cooker option.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a crack.
So all your recipes would be for the slow cooker. That's yeah.
So yeah, but
okay.
Eventually. But right now we do have like gourmet things that you could do. Like with the slow cookers, it's still it's really great. Like if you're a mom and dad in the morning, you should be enjoying a cup of coffee. Like, you shouldn't be pulling up chopping chickens or peeling onions, peppers, or chopping up carrots, potatoes, and stuff like that whatsoever. The way that we design it, like literally you open up your bags and containers, you just put everything in it, and then you close the thing, and then you set up your thing, and you're good to go.
Go to work, and then you come home and dinner's made.
Delicious flavor, smell is in your house. Like, it's all ready to go.
That's wonderful.
So, and on top of it, unlike the other things that cooking at home, eventually you wanted to catch up with your kids' activity, and you didn't have a lot of time. You had to go shop.
Yeah.
You have to plan what you're going to cook, and then now you have to come in, using all kinds of pans, pots, sheets, and stuff like that. Like at the end, you have to scrub them, clean them, and stuff like that.
It's a lot of work.
Right.
Yeah.
With the crock pot, you just take your insert afterwards, and then you clean that, you're done.
Right.
So that is one of the things that that we want to make groceries smart. We want to make home cooking simple. That is the whole approach with the Pantry Boy.
So what about people that maybe have specific health or medical concerns? Concerns like, let's say they're diabetic, or maybe they have to eat low salt, or they are counting calories. Maybe every meal has to stay below a certain point. Are you guys able to accommodate?
Oh, that is. Sure, definitely. That is the beauty of it. Like, since all the ingredients are proportioned separately, say for instance the seasoning, say the soy sauce, you always have that freedom of if you want to cut down in sodiums, you just add less.
Okay.
Unlike we were saying, if you're doing takeout, you don't have that option. It's already done for you. So definitely, for instance, if you're not a really fan of onions, you can leave them out, for instance. And also, we do have a lot of customer base, they have dietary restrictions, for instance. They would say, I'm a gluten-free, for instance. We don't do fish, for instance. We don't do pork.
We don't want to eat red meat or
we
something.
don't do red meat as much, or we don't do, nuts, for instance. That's a very common thing, and it's really great that, since it's more like a subscription plan. So when we have your plan with us, and then you also indicated that you wanted to be gluten, we have a whole week for next week to figure that out.
Okay.
That's why we put in this plan in place to kind of make this as much as convenient for our customer base.
Yeah.
Because we spend all that time to define the recipe, to define the ingredients and stuff to base, and to serve exactly what you wanted.
And make it tasty.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And also, one of the reasons, we don't, with our plans that we put it more like weekly, the reason for that as well also, it is not to kind of kind of keep you obligated with the plan. The idea is to also bottle the food waste in this country. Which is about ranges 40% food waste in this country from farm to the households. It's a mass food.
And that's something that's a big
massive.
priority for you.
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, if we have this weekly plans, so we do know that for the week how many customer base we have. So we do know how many ounces of potatoes we have to bring in.
Right.
We do know how much protein we have to talk to our farmers to bring it to us. And knowing that, it's really makes it very efficient for us, so we don't have to waste that 40% going somewhere else because we had to buy bulk because we didn't know how much we're going to sell for the week.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so that's this way, like, I mean, by doing that, that's why we are bringing our prices tremendously lower to kind of make it, and top of it, like, you don't have to go to grocery store and then you forgot a couple of them, or you couldn't find something if you're doing something gourmet. You have to go to a specialty store and stuff and all that.
Yep.
When you come home, this box is in your steps. So it's a really...
So now you used to do a lot of local catering, and you are still doing that.
Absolutely.
I want to put that out there for anybody that's looking for catering,
absolutely.
either for their own home or for an event. You're still doing a ton of catering along the main line.
Actually, one of the reasons that we downsized our fringy operation as a storefront because our catering business grown tremendously.
It has.
And it's been it has grown in a way that like it's like, yes, we do a lot of social events, like whether it's a celebration or something on a weekend, but the majority of our business is more like office business.
Okay.
We do work with lots of small offices or businesses in greater Philadelphia area. Like, we do deliver up to 25 miles. That's a pretty...
So bringing in lunch or breakfast or that
kind
absolutely.
of thing. There are days that our drivers are driving tri-state type thing, Jersey, Delaware type thing and stuff like that to kind of make that happen. And usually it is lunches, and our lunches, again, designed unique, like all the feedbacks that we get from our customers. It's different, it's delicious, it's healthy, it's, carries really well. Like, I mean, it's not like you drop off a tray of pasta, sit there for 2 hours.
Right, and then it doesn't taste good.
Right.
Yeah, and I think one of the key things that you said is healthy and delicious, because a lot of times people feel like they can only have one or the other.
Right.
If it's healthy, it tastes terrible, and if it's delicious, it's bad for you.
Right.
So if you're able to deliver both of those,
that's
absolutely.
Something unique. And definitely, if the pricing point is right, is
and the
accessible,
price point, sure.
Right, absolutely, it makes really sense. Like, and of course, like at the beginning, it was a really struggle. Like, I mean, I could definitely say it here. During our first year, we did only 3 catering jobs.
Okay. But look how far you've come,
yes.
right?
Like in 2015, we did over 1,000 catering jobs, and
that's
this year
amazing.
That's just tremendous.
You should be so proud of that. It speaks to you and your food, so that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So I want to shift gears a little personally. I know you're a lovely wife, and I know you have 3 small children, and you guys run all these businesses together. So tell me a little bit about how you balance, running your family and running all of these businesses.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess like I think that everything could be really scary, a little bit of hesitant, but I think we should be brave. And eventually you're working with people just like yourselves. Like, yes, of course, everything is not easy. Everything has challenges, difficulties and stuff. And I think you can, if you could have a good plan in place, and then if you have a good focus in place, if you communicate whether with all of your stakeholders, whether they're your team members, your customers, your landlord, your suppliers, your federal, state tax collectors, like, I mean, if you're making that communications really effective, and then just show them that you're a good person, you have a good plan, you just hope to grow it.
Do you have anything that as far as like, we don't take calls over dinner, or Sunday is family day? Do you make any hard and fast rules so that you do have family time?
Yes, definitely. Oh, definitely. You have to balance that.
Yeah. Most
definitely. And that's why, like, I mean, it just we work so hard to make that happen.
Right.
Of course, like, I mean, there are days that, like, I mean, you end up working 7 days because your business needs more help, or your team needs more help, and here and there. But the idea is that, like, you want to build a product and service, and it's simplified that it's also just kind of runs itself. Like, you want to bring it to that level. Eventually, you want to make sure that you don't get your staff member overworked.
Sure.
You don't want to overwork yourself. Like, you want to have social time and space and stuff.
And you want
like
everybody else to as well.
Oh,
all your employees.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, that's extremely important.
Good.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So I'm curious what your favorite dish is, either to make or to eat, or both. What's a favorite of yours?
Well, I mean, actually, I'm into lots of salads, fresh vegetables. I love my vegetables, and I think the way that I think meat is a little overrated.
Okay.
Yes, I love meat too, but I think sometimes, like if you apply certain types of seasoning and techniques and stuff, you could bring out so amazing flavors. For instance, out of a zucchini, it's my favorite
I
vegetable.
love zucchini.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I was a little kid, like I mean, there's no way I was touching it because I think maybe it wasn't done right. But the way that it's, I personally developed so many different techniques and stuff how you can apply it, and you can bring up so much amazing flavor, and it's so good for you.
That's great.
Yeah,
So
you.
what about, what do you think your biggest challenge has been so far as an entrepreneur?
Well, I mean, you see, I always, I think of my business, my concepts to be unique, different.
Uh-huh.
And being unique and different, it doesn't come easy. And we consumers do find ourselves like, I mean, you know, we are super busy, and we just, we're people with the habits. So it's like we do the same things over time, all the time. But when you're introducing a new product, new concept, it's a little bit difficult to kind of get people to understand it. Like, and I think there's always a barrier, I find it, between your product and your consumers. Like, at most of the time, I find that being challenging.
Okay.
That's why I think you are the face of that brand and product. If you could be more involved, be more accessible and available to your customers, it will make it much more easier to kind of get barrier removed.
Yeah.
You know, so like being different, being unique, being new, it's always there's a challenge to kind of get the product adapt.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, like I mean, being new, different, you have to kind of work tirelessly, make sure that you have a really good market fit product. So if you're doing a typical pizza, even you're doing pizzas in triangles, it's still a pizza. The concept itself, it's dough and sauce and cheese, and it's same concept. But if you're, for instance, one of our products that we introduced is called kumpiri. It's a fresh baked potato, and then all the ingredients on top of it. That was a really unique idea, and of course, it took a lot of time to kind of get it adapted.
And I've seen, you know, you do a lot of positive things on social media as well. You'll put up pictures of your dishes that look really, you know, like something you really want to eat. And then people put up great reviews of your new pantry boy service and the different meals they've made and how easy it was and how delicious it was and how much their family enjoyed it. So I'm thinking that kind of stuff has to be very positive to help get the word out.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I'm saying building that product is you have to, it's like, one thing that I do really well, and I really recommend it to anyone who's out there, like I mean, wanted to do their own business as well, in a certain way. It's the business. It can't be just visually what you see. Like you have to really see what stimulates to your consumer.
Yeah. And
you have to really see in their perspectives. Like you have to really observe it in their way of getting that product and using it. And is it easier? Is it accessible? Is it convenient? Is it, can you avoid many ways of avoiding errors to, at the end you're having an unpleasant experience. Like whatever you can do from packaging to the table, you want to make sure that it's done right. The portioning, the presentation, the quality, the freshness, the taste, flavor. Like, I mean, there are so many things that you have to really think.
A lot goes into it.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I mean, especially, it gets even complex if you're taking a takeout to your family of 4, and then everyone is different flavors, tastes, and picky eaters, or whatever. So you have to really see everything that make sure that it serves really well for that purpose.
Sure. So we're coming to the end, and I want to make sure people know how to get in touch with you and how to learn more about Pantry Boy and subscribe if they'd like. So please share with our viewers.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Yeah. Well, definitely visit us at pantryboy.com. It's one easy website, and that's really easy to access. And there's we do have a couple of plans that you can pick if you're vegetarian, only meat lover, or mix, or slow cooker, which is a crockpot option. It's really accessible for everyone to make it at home really easily. And you don't have to do a lot of things. You don't have to think what's for dinner. It's just you pick up a plan. We do the rest of it, all the magics, and then we just drop it off at your doorstep really conveniently. And that's that, easy. And then if you needed a catering for a small catering or large catering, just visit us at fringy.com.
Wonderful.
That's easy too.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, sure.
Until
time
next
flies.
time. Yeah, of course. It always flies when you're having fun. So,
Thank you.
Budo will answer the question for you with Pantry Boy, what is for dinner? So we will see you next time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.